Fellow Araxians, hello. Commander Cyrious here. Well, folks, for at least 10 years now, I've laughed off everyone that suggested that Planetside 2 would die, and proved them wrong around every corner. But now, you gotta throw me on the heap with them. After the Planetside 2 IP sale and Toadman shutting down, I predicted its death. But Planetside proved me wrong. Let's dive in.
Living up to his name.
Okay, guys, everyone charge that room right now. Charge that room. Let's do it.
Before we dive in, I want to remind you of a couple things. First of all, I'm streaming again. To my old crew that came out to all the streams, I'm sorry that I faded away. IRL and all that. But we're back with a vengeance and having a lot of fun. Big shout out to Commander Zeno and the Native, the MVPs of our recent streams. And I appreciate all of you that dropped bits, supers, and memberships. Thanks again. And a quick reminder, thanks to Planetside 2, we have tons of bundles that we give away. On some unique occasions, we give away Daybreak Cash. And we also have IRL loot like dog tags and Commander Cyrious patches. So come out to the streams, you can join the platoons if you want, or just cheer us on and get your hands on some of that swag and help get Planetside 2 out to the peoples. I used to have a stream schedule. I can't really anymore. It's mostly just when I can. I try to post ahead of time. Otherwise, if you hit subscribe, turn on the notifications, your phone will just ping you when we're getting on, and I look forward to seeing you then. Okay, that's out of the way. Now, before I talk about one of the worst calls I ever made, I want to talk about one of the best calls I ever made. And that was proposing to Miss Cyrious. It was a convoluted affair where she had to hunt around the mountains of Colorado for clues to the next point. She was fully equipped with GPS, bolt cutters, shovels, and metal detectors. The only problem was the metal detectors sucked. It was tiny, underpowered, and I had to tape the handle back together before she even started. That wouldn't have been the case if I had known today's sponsor of the video, GreenRex. They sent out some of their metal detecting equipment for us to test out. It was easy for both the kids and adults to get it up running. With a few clicks of a button, we could isolate whether we were looking for jewelry, coins, or even nails. And after sweeping the area and detecting the type of metal you were looking for, you could engage pinpoint mode.
Okay, so you think you have a zone. Now go forward and backwards on that zone.
Which allows you to get real specific and dig in exactly the right point to find that treasure. And voila, we're rich. So anyways, I recreated that event from so many years ago. This time with treasures for everyone, but 3 extra people in tow. The little commanders all had a blast. We hunted around, found the clues, got some treasures in each one, and made it all the way through to the jackpot at the end. Whether you're just trying to find nails in a driveway or a field, or you're trying to find treasures on the beach, and whether it's for yourself or the kiddos, this GreenRex metal detector is a blast and a great, easy, cost-effective way to get into the hobby. There's going to be a link down in the description. You should go check that out if you're interested in metal detecting. Thanks again to GreenRex for sponsoring this video. Also, you can see what's keeping us hopping and why I can't land a schedule anymore these days. What's up, little dude? Okay, so that was a good call. Now let's get on to a bad call by Commander Cyrious. And that was my prediction of Planetside 2 dying. To be honest, I never really thought it was possible for the longest time. I've seen it predicted in 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and there were some very obvious reasons why I knew it would not go away then. First and foremost, it was a sunk cost. The game was built. It was operational. It was generating revenue. Long before the game was shut down, you would expect it to go into maintenance mode, where there were no active developers working on it. And we went from the era of Higby to Rel. There was always development going into Planetside 2, which was a sign to me that it wasn't going anywhere. Second, they own the IP outright. Building a Star Wars game, you're licensing from LucasArts. Building a football game, you're licensing from the NFL. Licensing deals can affect a game's shelf life. That's a non-issue here. And the final thing that I thought was key to keep this game going forever is that it still had a subscription model, and because it had been around so long, I'm including Planetside Vanilla in this, it had an audience of older players that had a lot of disposable income. Having a large base of players that were dropping $10 to $15 a month without even thinking about it on the game was a great reason to keep the servers up. Now, over the years, these things started to erode away. They offered the lifetime membership. Great to meet your year-end results, but players that bought their membership have paid for it twice over at this point. But there were still Christmas bundles. You had to get those heroic boosts, so that wasn't the end of the world. And they probably locked in some players that would have stopped paying for a monthly membership anyways. No, my faith wasn't truly shaken until 2024 came around. And EG7, which was now run by the Columbus Nova execs, sold the Planetside 2 IP. That's when the cracks really started to form for me. All of this was happening while my experience in Planetside 2 was severely degrading. Connery had been suffering since the end of 2018 when the Soul Tech split happened. Connery went from having similar pop to Emerald to having 40% less pop within 3 months of that server split happening. And it's not like it was just a pop drop. Connery went from having fights around the clock to only having fights US West prime time. It was no longer the world server. And for people like me that could only get time in early in the morning sometimes, it really ruined the experience. And the population just petered out from there. The same latency problems we're seeing now with the merge, Connery had to live with for most of 2022. It had short-term population consequences, but population actually went up compared to Emerald once the latency was fixed, according to Hanu, but it definitely wasn't fun to play with. And when Rel left, the population cratered to where it couldn't even sustain fights anymore. Couldn't get directives done easily because there were not enough people around. Just really a crashing negative experience that you would expect to be dealt with if the game was being cared for. So the storm of the Connery server not being dealt with, the IP of Planetside 2 getting sold off, and then the layoff of developers, for the first time ever, I saw cracks. I saw a point where rather than fix the game's problems, they may just give up on it and say, you know what, we're calling it. We're pulling the plug. The membership revenue was obviously way down. They no longer own the titles, so they might have to pay licensing fees at some point. And the developers were getting fired. So maintenance mode was coming, and would they let there be a long period of maintenance mode, or maybe they just kill it off? Why let it linger around? So kind of the three legs of the stand that to me meant Planetside 2 could never die have now all been kicked out from under it. And from that, I made the incorrect prediction that Planetside 2 would die. But it carries on. Toadman did have one last gasp of patches to push to the game between the assault facility and fishing. They made it there. My fear was that the licensing deal was only good for a year. That was obviously wrong. Part of the deal may be that they can run Planetside 2 in perpetuity. They couldn't make another title like Planetside Next without licensing it, but maybe there's no cost to keep using the Planetside 2 IP. And while they're losing the developers of Planetside 2, they still have customer service with Daybreak Games, DevOps team with Daybreak Games. So just because they're losing the developers that would bring content into the game, that doesn't mean they're losing the operations team or the developers that actually keep the servers up and running. And so finally, at long last, we got some time from the DevOps team to handle the mergers in Planetside 2. So soldiers, I apologize that I lost faith. I hope you can see with the news that was coming out and also with the experience they left us with on Connery for many years, it was a pretty easy conclusion to come to. But the fact that they didn't just cut and run gives me great hope for the longevity of Planetside. Not in some sort of resurging comeback way, but in a way of they will put the effort into condensing the population when time requires and keep the servers online. I still stand by my prediction that the only thing that could really trip up the game is if there is ever a licensing dispute. But my thought now is the fact that we've seen Astrapto Capital, the owners, put it out there into the universe that they want to partner with someone and the game still hasn't shut down, to me means that licensing may not be the concern I thought it was. And while we will never be privy to the details, it sounds like it will allow Planetside 2 to go on and on as long as it can. The mantra I've been telling myself is sometimes the end times are the best times. It's when OGs get that wave of nostalgia and come back for one day, maybe a week, maybe they stick around. It's when players, when they first checked it out, didn't have the patience or the maturity to really stick with it. And after playing mainstream junk for many years, and they try it again, all of a sudden it clicks, and they see the glory of Planetside 2. So I think there is still a lot of potential for new and old players to come check this game out. And as long as there are populated servers there available for them, this game will continue on, and I will continue to be one of them. One of the requests that I get, and it's been on my mind, is sort of a returning player guide for both newbies and veteran players. Just bring them up to speed on Planetside 2, a little bit of history and kind of changes over the years. So I am working on that. Key things like maxes can't be revived anymore. You can't repair harassers from the back anymore, etc. If there's any key things that you were shocked about when you came back that should be in that video, please comment them below. But before that, I am going to get a video together on why I think the servers should be moved to the East Coast. I know that's going to hurt my Western brethren. I always expected that they would just merge Connery into Emerald. Emerald was still standing. Connery was dead. I said that a million times on stream. The way the merge happened is obviously great for me, and I'm loving having amazing ping. But long-term strategically, I think it would be better to migrate the location. And so I'm going to do a quick video to kind of talk us through that. And then we can get into state of the game and something that can help returning players that are getting back into the game. This coming weekend, there is an event where there's going to be free codes going out so you can get banners to let people know what server you came from. So make sure you get out for that and come out and join the stream at that event. That is going to be it for now. Planetside 2 lives on. Never say die, soldiers. I am Commander Cyrious, and until next time, I will see you Planetside.